Welcome sa course na Engineering Mechanics, particularly Statics of Rigid Bodies. Solve naman tayo ng mga sample problems tungkol sa moment of a force. Determine the moment of the force about point O. Meron tayong 100 Newton force. The distance 2 meter dun sa point O. Ang moment, kailangan natin dun is yung magnitude ng force tapos yung perpendicular distance niya dun sa point of interest or kung tawagin ay center of moment. Therefore, yung moment sa O equal sa negative 100 newtons times 2 meter. Negative dahil ang sign convention na ginamit, nakalagay din dyan na clockwise is positive. So, yung 100 newton force, magkakos siya ng negative moment or counterclockwise rotation sa point O. At yung distance nga is 2 meters. So, therefore, moment at O is equal to negative 200 newton meter. Isang problem pa, 100 Newton force, 1 meter naman yung perpendicular distance niya sa O. Therefore, moment sa O is equal to 100 newtons times 1 meter. So, positive dahil ang i-cause niya naman na rotation is positive or clockwise dun sa point O. Therefore, moment sa O ay 100 newton meters. Next naman, 500 newton force dun sa pinakadulo ng beam, sa edge. Tapos, merong triangle, 3, 4, 5. Tapos yung edge na yun or yung pinaka-length ng beam is 2 meters from point O. So, drawing natin para madaling i-manipulate. So, yun. So, yung kailangan natin, yung concept ng moment. So, yung force, tapos yung minimum or perpendicular distance ng line of action ng force dahil dun sa principle of transmissibility. Tapos, papunta dun sa center of moment. Dito nga yung point O. Ito yung distance na yun. Para makuha natin kung ano yung distance na yun, pwedeng gamitin natin itong concept na to, yung opposite angle, so equal sila. Yung dalawang triangle na yan, yung 3, 4, 5, tapos yung length ng beam, yung distance dun sa point O, papunta dun sa line of action ng force na may magnitude na 500 newtons. So, similar triangle sila. So, itong leg na to ng triangle proportional dun sa leg na may length na 4 dun sa given. Yung hypotenuse naman nila is proportional. Tapos yung isa pang leg, so yun yung similar triangle. So therefore, yung moment sa point O is equal to 500 newtons times yung distance D. Para makuha yung D, so similar triangles. So D over 2. So, yung red divided by yellow equal dun sa red divided by yellow no? Sa triangle na given, yung triangle 3, 4, 5. So, therefore, equal sa 3 over 5. Therefore, yung distance D is equal to, so, multiply both sides sa 2. So, 2 times 3 over 5, which is 6 over 5. Kaya, moment sa O is equal to 500 times 6 over 5. In which 500 divided by 5 is 100 and then 100 times 6 ay 600 Newton meters. Or pwede rin naman itong problem din na to, no? Pwedeng kunin natin yung components. So, horizontal component ng 500 Newton force. So, 500 times 4 over 5. Tapos yung vertical component naman, 500 times 3 over 5. Sabi dun sa Varinian's theorem, yung resultant ng moment, pwedeng makuha gamit yung mga components or summation ng mga components ng moment na yun. So, summation ng moment sa O, clockwise is positive pa rin. Yung horizontal component, so inline siya dun sa point O, and distance niya is 0. Tapos yung vertical component, so positive, dahil magkakos siya ng clockwise rotation dun sa point O, kaya 500 times 2 over 5, yung component or vertical component ng 500 Newton force, yung distance nun, so horizontal distance ay 2 meters. So 500 divided by 5, so 100 times 3 times 2, so therefore, moment sa O ay 600 Newton meters clockwise. Next problem. So pwedeng gamitin na rin natin yung concepts ng components. So, 500 times over 5, yung horizontal component ng 500 Newton force. Vertical component, so 4 over 5. Summation sa moment sa O dahil walang distance or yung line of action ng horizontal component ng 500 Newton force ay nandun yung point O. So therefore, 0 yung distance. Walang perpendicular distance. Tapos yung vertical component na 500 times 4 over 5, counterclockwise yung makakos niyang moment dun sa point O, kaya negative. So negative 500 times 4 over 5 multiply sa distance, yung perpendicular distance ng vertical force, so yung horizontal distance, which is 3 meters. Ganun ulit. So 500 divided by 5, so 100 times 4, so 400 times 3, which is equal to 1200. So therefore, moment sa O is equal to negative 1,200 Newton meters, or pwedeng 1,200 Newton meters counterclockwise dahil nga may negative dun sa next problem. So components ulit yung gawin nating method. So horizontal component ng 100 Newton force, so 4 over 5. Vertical, so 3 over 5. So yung 4 over 5, nandun din sa line of action niya yung point O. Yung vertical component naman, may distance na 5 meters. 5 divided 5, so makakancel lang. Kaya 3 times 100, kaya moment sa O is equal to 300 Newton meters, which is clockwise. Next naman, so components ulit. So yung horizontal component, so 500 times 4 over 5. Vertical is 500 times 3 over 5. So moment sa point O, so 500 times 3 over 5 times 2. So positive yung i-cos ng vertical component ng 500 Newton force sa point O. Tapos negative 500 4 over 5 times 1. Yun naman yung moment ng horizontal component ng 500 Newton force. So therefore, yung first part, so 500 divided 5, so 100 times 3 times 2, so 600. Tapos yung negative part naman, so 500 divided 5, so 100 times 4, kaya 600 minus 400. So therefore, moment sa O is equal to 200 Newton meters. Dahil positive yung naging sagot, so clockwise. Next problem, determine the resultant moment produced by the forces about point O. So ito yung figure. Summation ng moment sa O in which clockwise is positive. Yung first moment, so 600 Newton force, distance is 1 meter, yung perpendicular distance sa point O, plus yung 300 Newton force, yung horizontal. Tapos yung distance niya, ito, so vertical distance, so 2.5 sine 45. Kaya yun. And then, yung i-cos niyang moment, so positive moment din. Tapos, yung vertical naman na 500 Newton force, so negative naman yung i-cos niyang moment sa point O. At yung distance, so 1 plus 2 plus 2.5 cosine 45 degrees. Kaya, so 600 plus 300 times 2.5 sine 45 minus 500 times 1 plus 2 plus 2.5 cosine 45 degrees. So therefore, ang summation ng moment sa O is negative 1253.5533 Newton meters, or summation ng moment sa O is equal to 1253.5533 and so on Newton meters, which is counterclockwise. Next problem. So ito naman, yung unang force na consider, so force 1, so yung horizontal component niya. So 4/5 ng 500 and then yung distance, so 0.25, so point O. Yung i-cos nun is positive na moment, and then negative 3/5 ng 500, yung vertical component naman, yung F1, at yung distance niya, so horizontal distance, so 0.125, papunta dun sa point A, so 0.3 meters. So 0.125 plus 0.3, plus yung horizontal component ng F sub 2, so 600 cosine 60, at yung vertical distance naman na yun is 0.25, plus yung vertical component ng 600 Newton force. So, ang i-cos nyo pa ring rotation is clockwise. So, 600 sine 60. And then yung distance, horizontal distance is 0.125 plus 0.3 meters. Kaya, 4/5 ng 500. And then yung distance ay 0.25 minus 3/5 ng 500 times 0.125 plus 0.3 plus 600 cosine 60 times 0.25 plus 600 sine 60, distance na 0.125 plus point P. Therefore, summation ng moment sa O is equal to 268.3364 and so Newton meter. So positive yun lang yung sagot, kaya clockwise.